On November the 29th, 1975, the Burge Istra, a 224,000-ton supertanker, sailed out of the Brazilian port of Tubarão bound for Tokyo Bay. She was scheduled to arrive in Tokyo on January the 5th, 1976. On December the 29th, she radioed on course from southwest of Mindanao, the southernmost island of the Philippines. Then, with no more messages, signals, or trace, the Burge Istra simply vanished. The Burge Istra was 5 times larger than the 46,000-ton Titanic, and thus became the largest ship in maritime history to vanish. To make the disappearance even more mystifying, she contained some of the most sophisticated electronic equipment ever assembled on a modern ship. The disappearance occurred in a calm sea, there was no distress signals, and a massive search of over 300,000 miles of ocean did not reveal a single scrap of floating debris. Thus, the Burge Istra merely became another and the most latest craft to disappear in one of the strangest ocean areas of the world. This area is known as the Devil's Sea. For centuries, hundreds of ships and lives have been lost in 2 strange ocean areas of the world. In more contemporary times, airplanes and submarines have met similar fates in these localities. The first of these areas is located in a triangulation extending from the Florida Keys to Bimini Island to Bermuda in the Gulf of Mexico. This area has become known the world over as the Bermuda Triangle. The second area is somewhat less known. It is triangulated from the southern tip of Japan to the islands in the Jima group in the Pacific Ocean. This area is known as the Devil's Sea. Both of these areas have unusual ocean currents, quirky weather conditions, and tempestuous seas, and both have extremely heavy sea and air traffic. Obviously, many of the disappearing crafts can be explained by these known and natural conditions. However, there are other disappearances, such as the Burge Istra, which cannot be easily explained by natural causes. It is these disappearances that has caused the worldwide interest in these areas. Hundreds of books and articles have appeared in recent times with various explanations and theories. Thus far, these explanations and theories have not been inclusive enough to fit the varying parameters which must be satisfied for a definitive solution. The problem has become serious enough in 1955 for the Japanese government to develop a specially equipped ship to go into the Devil's Sea area for the purpose of establishing a scientific explanation for the strange disappearance of a number of Japanese ships and crews. However, this ship, containing the very latest in electronic and scientific equipment, simply vanished without a trace within a few days after entering the Devil's Sea region. It is losses such as a Japanese ship and the more famous disappearance of 5 U.S. naval planes in the Bermuda Triangle in 1945 and subsequently 2 naval search planes that went out to investigate that do not fit into the natural causes category. The first thing that one notices upon study of these areas is that the Bermuda Triangle and the Devil's Sea are located of each other on the other side of the earth. They are both located in the heart of 30-degree latitude north. Further study will show that the Great Pyramid at Giza, Egypt, is also located on 30-degree latitude north. Are these coincidences? I don't think so. King Solomon once stood on the balcony of one of his palaces and looked out over the splendor of the greatest material and majestic kingdom the world has ever known. Yet, amid this grandeur, King Solomon said, "All is vanity. There is nothing new under the sun." Of course, he was right. There is nothing new under the sun. Man was not then, nor now, Or has he ever been a creator? Man is an imitator, duplicator, and an innovator, but he creates nothing. All that he does is a mere reflection of what he sees or uncovers in the world around him. Likewise, there is really no such thing as fiction. Every story has some place in its genesis, roots in myth, legend, folklore, or actual event. Myths, legends, and folklore are also rooted someplace in antiquity, from an actual event or series of events. It was with this fact in mind that I approached the mystery of the secret seas. Many investigators of the Bermuda and Devil Triangle argue first that the areas involved are not triangulars. If one wants to be precise, that is true. But as I mentioned before, there is no such thing as true fiction, and in this case I think it is interesting that the word triangular was used to describe these areas. It is a perfect example of the subconscious mind penetrating truth in opposition to surface appearance. Diamonds are mineral crystals. They are the hardest substance known to man. They are the only mineral that contains only one chemical element. All of the rest contain at least two or more. The classification of diamonds is based on a cubic system. Basically, a cube viewed on a flat surface is two triangles upside down against each other. Remember that pyramids are triangles shaped, and the seal of Solomon is two triangles or pyramids upside down against each other. Diamonds, as almost everyone knows, have always been cloaked in an aura of mystery. No one really knows for sure how diamonds are made or where they come from. The theory is that they are formed from carbon under tremendous pressure from the intense heat created by volcanoes. This theory may well be true, since scientists have developed man-made diamonds using fantastic heat and pressure. However, the man-made diamonds, while having the appearance and hardness of real diamonds, lack the unique properties of real diamonds. Man-made diamonds lack the refraction of light, the peculiar electrical characteristics, and the strange facility for retention of radiation. Scientists have found that when diamonds are exposed to radiation, they retain dangerous levels of radioactivity for very long periods of time. The Atomic Energy Commission placed a prohibition on diamond radiation in 1953, then lifted the ban in 1956 after the Federal Trade Commission provided that all diamonds that have been treated with radiation had to be so labeled when sold. One of the most famous diamonds in the world is the Hope diamond. There are many deaths and ill fortune connected with the Hope diamond. It is one of a kind, a very rare colored blue. Beside the tragedies which have come to its owners, the Hope diamond has electrical properties which are a mystery to scientists. In regard to this so-called curse attached to the Hope diamond, whether one believes it or not, it is ironic and a fact that tragedy has struck a number of its owners. Even more ironic, its present owner is the United States. The Hope diamond was given to the Smithsonian Institute by New York jeweler Harry Winston in 1958. If one is a student of history, they will note that America has experienced its greatest misfortunes in the years since 1958. However, the important points to remember: the diamond is triangular and retains radioactivity for long periods of time. In 1942, during World War II, a U.S. Army cargo pilot, James Gassman, was flying cargo over the Himalayan mountains in northern India. Gassman's plane experienced engine problems and he began to drop to a lower altitude. As the plane fell, he had to maneuver to avoid crashing into the jagged mountain peaks that surrounded his plane. Suddenly, a peak rose in his flight path. He quickly banked the plane, missing the peak. Then, as he leveled the plane again, he saw that he was in a valley. Then, to the amazement of Gassman and his crew, they saw directly below them in the valley a gigantic, beautiful white pyramid shining in the sunlight. Even more fantastic, on top of the pyramid was a huge capstone of a crystal-type stone. When Gassman returned to his base, he reported the pyramid to the intelligence officer, but pressure of war precluded further investigation. One should note that the heart of the Himalayan mountain range is on the 30-degree latitude. In 1947, newspapers throughout the United States published a photograph of a giant pyramid located in the Qinzi province of China. Shortly after this time, China became communistic and ceased communications with the West. So, no other information has been forthcoming concerning this mysterious pyramid. The photograph had been taken by a U.S. Army pilot and is now buried in the Army's intelligence file. This area is also near the 30-degree latitude. From the time of recorded history, almost every culture on Earth has, in its ancient past, a story of mankind being destroyed by a flood. Of course, the most famous is the one chronicled in the Bible concerning Noah and his ark. But similar, if not almost identical stories are found all over the world. Thus, the evidence is very clear that at some point in history, the earth, or at least the larger part of it, was destroyed by a flood. In addition, many scientists accept the fact that the world also underwent a cataclysmic upheaval at some point in time. The most definitive work on this subject is Dr. Emanuel Velikovsky's Worlds in Collision. Dr. Velikovsky's theory is that this upheaval, which rearranged almost the total geography of the Earth, was caused by a comet that emanated from the planet Jupiter. And now, with the sophisticated photography and measurements that are available from suborbital Earth satellites, many are beginning to take more seriously the split continent theories, because these photographs from space clearly show the precise jigsaw configurations of Europe and the Americas. That is, they fit so uniquely that coincidence must be ruled out. Also, there are great cleavages along the floor of the Atlantic Ocean. It should be mentioned that this is also true of the Pacific area. Thus, based upon scientific facts and historical records, one can say with assurance that at some point in time, the Earth underwent a flood and a cataclysmic upheaval. However, believe that the two are synonymous. I believe the flood and the upheaval occurred at the same time.